Oh my God.
Flames are shooting out. Smoke is pouring out.
Today I'm going to share with you one of the greatest stories I have ever heard. The story of a man I've never met, but who has changed my life and inspired me in more ways than I can count. This is the incredible story of Kenneth Joseph Marino, my girlfriend's father, a firefighter who died on 9/11, trying to save the lives of thousands in a burning building. It only feels right with September 11th in a couple days to share his story, the impact that had on my life, and how his life and legacy began the greatest love story I could ever imagine in my own lifetime. If you can't see God in this story, I don't know what to tell you. I don't feel like it's right for me to share this story alone, so hold on. This is my girlfriend. Her dad was the hero I'm talking about. You being able to share this story in the way that you have has been one of the greatest stories of overcoming adversity and, being brave enough to share that testimony on camera like I've ever seen.
Thanks.
I mean that.
That means a lot.
I really wanted to share on this channel the perspective of how this has impacted our relationship. Because it really, he is alive today and impacting our relationship in very, has to be God ways. And I wanted to share that with you guys. But I feel like for them to really understand who he is, you have to explain it yourself and kind of give them a foundation.
Okay. So on September 11th, 2001, it was just like a normal, ordinary day. My dad had slept in the city at the firehouse. My dad worked for Rescue 1 in New York City. He had slept over from the night shift because he was going into the day shift. And I modeled in the city sometimes, so we would go back and forth. We lived like an hour away, so it was kind of special that he was in the city at the same time as us. So my mom decided to stop by and surprise him, and we said our hellos. He put me and my brother on the fire truck. Kind of just like a good day. We were only there for like 30 minutes. So then we say our goodbyes. So then as we're driving, my mom sees that there's an airplane overhead and points out to my brother, because my brother was 1.5, and was like, "Oh, Tyler, look at the airplane. Like, isn't that so cool?" And in the back of her mind, she was like confused because she was a flight attendant. So she was like, how did they get clearance in New York City
To fly over buildings? Yeah, no.
Yeah, because it was really low. But she didn't think of anything of it, right?
Sure.
And so then as we're walking into my appointment, my brother stops and sees fire trucks, and we hear sirens, and my mom goes, "Oh, that's probably Daddy, wave hi." And then we go into our appointment, and immediately they're like, "You need to get out of the city, look at the news, you need to get out of the city. They're shutting down all of the bridges. A plane just hit the World Trade Center."
Gosh, that's crazy.
So we got out of the city, and no one really heard anything. Everyone was just kind of confused. Also, phone lines were down, and the next day comes and still she didn't hear anything. And then I guess my mom went into the city to bring DNA samples, his toothbrush and stuff, because there were so many people in hospitals and there was so much chaos. There was thousands of people that needed to be accounted for. And so then he never came home. The list is actually pretty small of people that weren't found. They found his helmet though. They found his halogen and his patch to his helmet.
So everything settles and it's just you, your mom, and your brother. And that to me is where a new chapter starts. How were you impacted by that? How did it change your childhood growing up? I mean, it's I can't even fathom what it's like to have such a televised catastrophe as the landmark. There's no other thing like that we mourn and that we remember the people of so prominently in our society today.
Yeah, it's actually crazy because this was one of the very first terrorist attacks that the United States has seen. So no one really knew how to navigate it. So many people all at once lost someone. I know my mom, she just went into mom mode. She just went into taking care of me and my brother. Everything was about us. She literally poured her whole entire life into me and my brother. She never remarried, never even dated, didn't care about that. She just wanted us to be so taken care of and just know how loved that we were, and she definitely did a good job of that. It was definitely hard though, like growing up without a dad. I can like remember like coming home from school sometimes and like feeling like people were talking about their dads just to make me feel upset, which like I know they were just talking about their dads, but I just got like so upset when anyone would even be like bringing up the fact that they had a dad, because it just like was so hurtful to me because I just didn't understand it.
How did all this start to change and like hit a relationship with God?
I had so much anxiety growing up. I had like OCD. I was really attached to my mom. Couldn't go away from her. Didn't sleep at people's houses. Like really didn't like live like a normal childhood because I was so attached to my mom because I didn't want anything to happen to her. Like even when I got babysat, like I would bawl my eyes out because I just wanted to be with my mom, which like I loved, but I felt like I needed to like kind of detach a little bit. So the only other place I knew to go to was Disney World, because that was my second home, because she would take us to Disney World just because she felt safe here. And so I decided to come to Disney World because it felt like my second home, and it was something that felt manageable and something that like I would wake up every day and like feel excited to go work for. So I moved with two of my best friends, worked for Disney. I still felt like an emptiness about me. And there was my favorite coffee shop, which you guys know, Paloma, which I owe my life literally to the coffee shop owner. Like he took me in as his own daughter. He would call me his daughter. He would always read like Bible verses to me and kind of just like plant that seed more, and really wanted me to have a relationship with God.
So with those 3 years where you were here in Orlando, like you were really like spending a lot of your life at this coffee shop being mentored by this guy, almost like he was your dad.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like now looking back on it, his son is a worship leader, and it's actually really funny now that I look back on it. He'd be like, if you download his album, I'll give you free coffee. So, you know, like I was a Disney worker, and so me, Kelty, Gabby, we would all download the album and he'd give us a free coffee. It was just so funny. But he was planting that seed all along. He was just planting that seed. And then one day I came in, he's like, I'm sending you somewhere this Thursday night. And I said, I don't know about that. And he said, nope, come in a little bit before Thursday and I'm gonna send you there and I'm gonna give you the address. And he's like, I don't want you to know where I'm sending you, but I'm sending you. Long story short, he sent me to Noah's church that he started, which was Jaywalkers. He sent me with 8 caramel lattes. And the funny story about that is Lino actually had a dream that we met.
Yeah, that was the craziest part.
It's like so crazy.
So
like,
Lino was a part of my life too. Like I had seen Lino a couple times and I was friends with Lino, but like we had never met. We always went to the coffee shop at different times.
Yeah.
And so I guess he had a dream.
And he woke up in the middle of the night, he told me, and he said, Noah likes caramel lattes and Kate or Kristen likes caramel lattes. I need to introduce them together. And he all along knew, like he knew that there was just gonna be something there. And like
Wow.
This is his way of doing that. And he's like, he knew you were godly, and like that's what he wanted for my life.
I was standing at the front doors greeting people as they came in. Cause you know, you gotta make people feel welcome and at home.
No, you weren't. Actually, you weren't.
You're so wrong.
I met Nick at the car
You are
with
so
Alicia,
wrong.
and I thought they were dating. And
Yeah,
I was
I bet
like, oh, this
Nick
is
did meet you
I
at the
thought
car.
they were married. And then like Tiffany, everyone said hello, and then I think I didn't say hello, meet you until the end.
That's not true.
I don't even remember
That's
at
not
this
true.
point. It's just so long ago.
I remember she parked in a far parking lot, kind of adjacent to the church.
Yeah, I remember I backed up so aggressively, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing.
No, I remember her showing up with like all these coffees in hand and being like, wow, that's the first time I've ever seen anybody show up with something to offer us. Like that doesn't happen. Usually we're here like as a church to serve, and like somebody came with an offering just like to help the volunteers. And so like I remember like all these years of doing this church and being a church leader at it, like one of the big things for me was that I would never date a girl that like showed up at the church. Right? Because I didn't want that just to become a place where I'd find a girl to date.
I just sit here and
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm just sitting here and I'm like, how the freak did we end up together? Like, it's such a weird story.
know.
Like, I can't believe that, like, this like guy that I shook hands with, like, I literally dated. Like, that just, like, I can't even imagine it. Like, I don't even know how I thought I would meet my person.
I don't know.
Do you ever, like, look back and, like, think that's a crazy story?
I do. I think it's a crazy story all the time. And so at the end of that service, I remember like starting to do these like little like I had these little like plans, and she didn't know, but I was very much locked on her. Like I was having my brother Colby reach out to see if
This
like
is so funny. It makes me like literally want to cry. Like our story's so cool.
like I was having my brother Colby reach out to her instead of me to see if she wanted to come hang out at the house, because I wanted to make sure that it didn't come off like I was like into her, because I knew I would like scare her off if I came on too hard. You know what I mean? So I had like all these little strategies and stuff like that. And she would come over, and then I invited her for like when nobody was looking, because I was afraid if I liked her, the other guys would like like piranhas, you know what I mean? So like when
Yeah,
nobody
he
was
was like,
looking,
hey, come here.
at the very end of the night when she came to hang out, I invited her to breakfast. And I remember like that breakfast was probably like one
The
of
most
the
boring things ever.
it was the worst date ever. And this is all right before quarantine shut everything down. And so I remember finishing that date and being like, Dad, that is not the one for me.
But before you go on, I do remember he did play me Meet the Man, and I don't even know at that point if you knew my story yet.
Oh, I don't think I did. This is so crazy. Previously, like 2 years before I knew K-Cup, I had made a song called Meet the Man about a girl who had lost her father. And I played that song for her on our first date, not knowing that that was her story. And like, I have to play it for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll finish this vlog with that song because it's like unbelievable how like I wrote that song into existence and then like you showed up. Almost like the song was literally made for K-Cup before I ever knew it. I was like breathing that story.
Because who writes a song about a dad who's not like in their life or like passed away? Like you don't. Like I don't know. Like it's crazy. It's just a crazy.
I'll go get the guitar.
Story.
I'll go get the guitar. Hold on 1 second. Got it.
Is this your guitar?
This is Austin's.
I knew it.
I bet he brought you every Sunday. I bet he showed you right from wrong and cheered you on in every home game and waited up till you got home. Bet he took the time to tell you the love that you deserve. 'Cause girl, the way you love me tells me someone must have loved you first. I wanna meet the man that made such a beautiful girl that a guy like me did never deserve. Because a girl like you is 1 in a million chance. I wanna meet the man that put that green in your eyes, that one little dimple on the side of your smile, and let him know how much I'd love to take your hand. I wanna meet the man. I wanna meet the man. Bet he hated every boyfriend. He probably tried to scare them all. And girl, I bet it kinda broke him when he watched you leave for prom. Yeah, it's like I already know him because of everything you are. I wanna meet the man that made such a beautiful girl that a guy like me did never deserve. Because a girl like you is 1 in a million chance. I wanna meet the man that put that green in your eyes and that one little dimple on the side of your smile. Let him know how much I'd love to take your hand. Ooh, I wanna meet the man. I wanna meet the man. He's been gone for a little while, but I'll try to make him proud. He can't walk it down that aisle, but I know he's looking down. I know one day I'll meet that man that made such a beautiful girl that a guy like me didn't ever deserve. Because a girl like you is a 1 in a million chance. I'm gonna thank him for putting that green in your eyes. I wrote that before I knew you.
I don't have green in my eyes.
Yes, you do. And that one little dimple on the side of your smile.
I don't have a dimple.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't.
You let him know just how grateful that I am. Wanna meet the man. I wanna meet the man.
Oopsie.
It's okay. Here's what's crazy about that song is it wasn't the end of the story. Like K-Cup's dad has played even more of a role in our story than that. How many September 11th ago was it that we were on the boat?
That was our first one.
So the first year we started hanging out, like this is after the beginning of quarantine. We started doing quarantine together. And in the midst of this, we both were on the boat and she was going through a tough spot. It was September 11th.
No, it actually wasn't September 11th.
Was it?
The day before September 11th, and I was really emotional, I think because I couldn't go home, and I've never not been home for September 11th.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even think I've really truly like cried in front of Noah yet, but I was really going through it, and usually like there's one day out of the year that I'm really emotional about my dad, and it happened to be basically that day. And Noah just like took me on the boat and was encouraging me, and I remember it started raining and there's a video on it. I think
it was beautiful. It was really cool. It was like a shower, like a rain shower. But then after the rain, and we did a little devos, you know, gave our hearts to God, and this really cool thing happened out of the blue. Do you want to tell him?
Yeah, so I think I was bawling my eyes out, like straight up bawling my eyes out, and all we see is like this red balloon in the water.
I got one, hold on. These,
Yeah.
but not that. It fell out of the sky. We watched it come out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, it came out of nowhere in the sky, and we watched it like
Literally
go into
fall.
the water.
Yeah, literally fall right next to our boat. But what I didn't know, and the reason it was so powerful to K-Cup, is like you had just let one of those balloons go off for your dad, right?
Yeah, I think the prior September 11th, I actually set off the same balloon, which I probably have a photo of doing that.
Crazy.
And it was just almost like it was my sign from my dad, which was really cool because I don't really get a lot of signs from my dad, or like I feel like it is. And that was just like so clearly him. Like, what are the odds? Literally when I'm like upset about him, that same balloon comes down like that through the sky, which is crazy. So like now the red balloons was just like,
it's like a symbol. It's like a symbol of like letting him know that we care about him, and it's like a symbol of us remembering him for everything he's been.
Yeah.
And I really believe it was a sign from God that like, what are the odds that you would let off a balloon on September 11th for him, and that the following September 11th it would literally fall when you needed it most, right next to you? That does not happen.
No.
That's nuts.
and so it's kind of become our thing.
It has, and I think that that's what we should go do today.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Dear Kenny, thank you for the incredible man that you are. I see all the best parts of you in the girl that you gave me as my best friend. And I can't wait for the day where I can thank you in person. But until then, I promise to love her like you would. Noah.